In a moment, what today's Russian papers are saying about peace talks on Ukraine and the Epstein files. First, the latest on the Russian economy. Nezavisima Gazeta reports that in big cities, 1/3 of residents alarmed by the threat of a lack of money. The impoverishment of the population is the main problem in Russia, according to 40% of Russians with higher education. In January 2026, there was an increase in Russians' economic anxiety and fears over their personal financial situation and the general situation in the country. Over the past 2 years, anxiety has increased due to uncertainty, a lack of money, an economic crisis, and a decline in production. Since January last year, the share of Russians worried by rising prices and impoverishment has increased. In cities with a population of more than 1 million, more than 1/3 of residents fear a lack of money, almost twice as many as in rural areas. Kommersant reports that the incidence of depression and stress disorders has increased. In Russia, the incidence of non-psychotic disorders, depression, anxiety and stress disorders has increased significantly. Kommersant reviewed data from the Russian Statistics Agency. In 2024, 21.5% more such illnesses were detected than in 2020. There is no data yet for 2025, but the sales dynamic for antidepressants indirectly points to the trend continuing. The Russian government paper Rossiyskaya Gazeta reports that in Russia a limit may be put on the export of gold bullion by individuals, setting that limit to 100 grams. This is an attempt to block a likely channel for withdrawing capital from the country. Reading Moskovsky Komsomolets this morning, there is no sense of an imminent breakthrough in peace talks on Ukraine, despite recent optimistic statements by US officials. The paper writes, Steve Witkoff radiates optimism, but Putin's right-hand man on foreign policy, Yuri Ushakov, pours a bucket of cold water over that. Looking ahead to the next round of talks in Abu Dhabi later this week, the paper concludes that they will definitely not be the final or even the penultimate chapter in the Russia-Ukraine political drama. As Izvestia points out, the issue of territory remains the main one for those involved in the negotiations. On to the Epstein files. Viedomosti writes, the scandal over the latest publication of documents linked to the Jeffrey Epstein case continues to shock American society. US President Donald Trump, who is mentioned in them, will do everything he can to distract attention from this fact. It could prompt abrupt decision-making. Nezavisima Gazeta. No matter how hard Trump's team tried, the publication of the files of the billionaire paedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, tarnishes it too.